Greetings, my name is Kerry and welcome back to my channel. Today is the start of my next book diary, which is for Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, holding up the book even though I've taken the dust jacket off, as I usually do. So I started this last night. I've only read one chapter so far. I don't really know what it's about other than that it's a fantasy, I believe inspired by Indigenous American mythology. So I'm really looking forward to getting into it. It's Monday the 30th of November. The live show is on Saturday, so I've got to try and read the whole thing this week. I didn't mean to leave it this late to pick it up, but the other books I was reading took longer than planned. So Monday is a study day at my college, so I've got some more studying to do this afternoon, but I've just stopped for lunch. I went for a bit of a walk. And I was gonna read it on my lunch break, but then I just remembered, like, I read the first chapter last night and there was some quite graphic stuff in there. So I don't think I'm gonna read it while I'm eating. I'm gonna read something else while I'm eating. I've got another book that I mentioned in my December currently reading TBR thing, which is this one where you need to talk about race. I've only got 2 chapters left of this, so I think I'm actually going to read this while I eat my lunch, and then depending on how long a break I want to have, considering I've just been for a walk for an hour, I might read some Black Sun or I might read some more this evening. But yeah, this is just a little introduction. As I say, I don't know very much about the book. I did see that it's told in a non-linear form, which I find quite exciting. It's also got this gorgeous map in the front cover. I'm a sucker for pretty inserts in books. Oh, and another one at the back as well, look at that. So gorgeous. I don't buy hardback books often, so it is a real treat when I do. I will actually talk more when I've read more of the book and I can tell you a bit more about it. I guess that's it for now. Hello, it is now Sunday and I realise I haven't updated at all this week on my progress with the book. That's because basically I made very little progress with the book all week. We're nearly at the end of term for uni, and so there's just been so much going on, even despite everything being virtual. Yeah, there's just been a lot happening. I hadn't had much time for reading during the week. I managed like a couple of chapters and not really enough to be able to give an update. I did manage to read quite a bit yesterday and I was going to update, but I just ran out of time with other things going on. And then I was hoping to finish the book today. The live show was originally meant to be yesterday. It is actually happening. Clearly I'm not there because I haven't finished the book yet, but all my plans just got thrown up in the air. The situation in the UK is that students are allowed to travel back to their family homes for a week. We came out of national lockdown on Thursday, I can't remember which day. I think it was Thursday actually, Thursday last week, or this week, depending on how you look at it. And we're allowed to travel until Wednesday. And that had been my plan, to travel on Wednesday, so that I'd have some time to finish off some bits at college this week, film all my Christmas videos, that sort of thing. And then one of my housemates developed some flu-like symptoms yesterday and decided to get tested. So I called my parents this morning and I said, if his test comes back positive, I am stuck at college basically until the Christmas travel window, which is the 23rd. Didn't particularly want that to happen, so with their agreement I have travelled home today, and then if my housemate's test comes back positive I can quarantine here. And so I've got the mask, like I have no symptoms, but just as a precaution, anytime I leave my room I have to wear my mask. Anyway, all of that is a preamble to say it's time to update you on how I'm actually getting on with Black Sun. And I've literally just realised I left the dust jacket at college, but never mind. So I'm now on page 160, which is about just past a third of the way through, and I'm really enjoying it. Took me a little while to get into it. I'm really glad that someone had pointed out on Twitter that it's told non-sequentially, which means that I'm paying attention at the start of each chapter to the time frame it gives for when it is set. There seem to be 3 or 4 different storylines. I think actually it's about to start on a different person storyline that we haven't come across before. So I think that's maybe the 4th perspective. I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember. But I really like all the characters so far. So one storyline follows a young man called Serapio. I don't know if I'm saying any of these names correctly, who in the first chapter, I found the first chapter a little bit unsettling, I'm not gonna lie. His mother performs some sort of ritual, so he believes he's destined to become the god of his people. So that happened 20 years before the rest of the story. The second storyline follows Ziala, who is a ship's captain. She's from a group of people called the Teak, and she has some sort of power over water, which makes her really good at being a captain. And she's been commissioned to take Serapio to the capital city of the area. This is about 10 years after the ritual. And then the third storyline follows Narampa, who is the high priestess of the main religion. Well, actually, they just call her high priest, the sun priest, sorry, they call her. There's quite a lot of like political stuff going on. She's recently come into her position. One of the other priests seems to be plotting against her, and then one of the clan leaders they're called the Sky Maid has just died, and so there's some stuff going on with that. And so I'm just about to start chapter 15, where we seem to have another character coming in who is the daughter of the clan chief that's just died, if that makes sense. The storylines are going to converge at some point. It all seems to be around something to do with the convergence, which I think is a solar eclipse. And there was one 10 years ago when Serapio's mother performed this ritual, and there's one that's happening about 20 days from when the events are happening, but that's why it's really important to keep checking the dates at the beginning of each chapter, because they do jump about a little bit, and then it fills in some backstory as well. So yeah, really enjoying it. I like the characters, particularly Ziala, the captain. She's really fun, and I'm really interested to see what happens later on. I don't have a lot more to say at the moment, really. I am going to read some more now, and I will try and do another update either tonight or tomorrow, and hopefully it won't be too long until I finish this book. This is the first time actually I've not finished the book before the live show, which feels a bit weird. It's not the first live show that I've missed. There were a couple that I couldn't make for various reasons, but this is the first time I've missed it because I haven't finished the book. But sometimes life happens, so never mind. I'm gonna do some more reading now, and I will talk to you again later. Hi, so it is Friday evening, and it's been a really manic week. It's been my last week of lectures for this term, so it's been pretty full on, and I've got an assignment due next week, and I've got another one due just after Christmas, and I've got a Hebrew exam to prepare for, and I'm starting to think about my PhD proposal, which I have to submit in January as well. So there's just been loads going on, and all the usual end of term Christmas stuff, but it's all been online, so I haven't had lots of time for reading. I have done a bit. There was a point yesterday afternoon where I'd had lectures all morning, and it's kind of like an optional seminar thing. We're encouraged to go, but I'm going to catch up on it. Everything is being recorded at the moment, and like my college have been really understanding about people having Zoom fatigue. So everything's being recorded, and so I'm going to catch up on that one at another point. So having had lectures all morning yesterday afternoon, I was just like, you know what, I can't face another lecture right now, another seminar, so I thought I'd catch up on that one. So I spent some time reading yesterday afternoon, which was really nice actually. So I am on page 315, chapter 27. I'm really enjoying how the book is progressing. I like that there are multiple storylines, so there are, I want to say 4 perspective characters. I feel like I'm forgetting someone though, and the plot alternates between them, but 2 of them are together, like in the same situation, but then it goes into the backstory of one of them as well. So I like that setup. The 2 characters that are together are probably my favourite. Their bits of the story are my favourite ones. So that's Ziala and Serapio. So Ziala is a ship captain. She's from a people called the Teak, and I'm enjoying the little snippets we're getting about her culture. And then Serapio is, I mean, it's kind of from the first chapter, you know, that his mother and his people, or the people that are with him from his clan, I guess. I don't quite know how to phrase it. Anyway, they believe that he is going to become like, I don't know whether it's the reincarnation or the rebirth of the sun god. And so Ziala is trying to get him to the capital city in time for the eclipse. And what happens on the ship is, yeah, it's a lot. These reviews are spoiler free, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I think that's one of the things I like about this book is that there's like lots of intrigue and lots of like plotting, and you're never quite sure if who's going to come out on top in the situations. And so another storyline follows Narampa, who's the current sun priest, and there's lots of plotting and intrigue surrounding her as well. The situation is really tense currently, and so I said on page 315 there are about 450 pages. Yeah, just over 450 pages. So I've got a little over 100 pages left. It doesn't feel like there's enough pages left for everything that I think needs to happen in this book. I know it is the start of a series, so I know there are going to be more books, but usually with books in series, there's some sort of resolution as well as something to lead on to. I'm finding it hard to see how there's going to be any resolution in this book. There's just so many elements and so much going on. The world building is really good. Like, this world feels really believable. There is magic, but it's not been very well sort of set out, so I'm interested to learn more about how the different magics work. So like there's teak magic. Ciala has a form of magic where she can have some influence over the sea. They're like a sea-based people. Serapio has some form of magic, but there seems to be other, like, the hint that other people can have access to magical ability as well, but it's not really been explained, so I'm interested to learn more about that. The characters are brilliant because none of them are entirely good people. They're all quite flawed and they all have really complex motivations, but I still like them and I'm still rooting for them, and that's something that is really difficult to achieve with me. I like character-driven books more than plot-driven, and this has both, which I really like, but I need my characters to be likeable, and I was a little bit worried when I started reading this book that I wasn't going to like the characters, but actually they all have something that makes me really want to root for them and see them do well, even though none of them are entirely likeable. They're all a little bit scrappy and they're all kind of underdogs, so that makes me really like them. It's quite late now, so I'm only going to read a little bit more tonight, but I'm hoping to finish the book tomorrow, and then if I manage to do that, I'm going to try and do a bit of other filming tomorrow, and I'll try and hopefully finish the book and film a bit of a wrap up for it. So yeah, until next time. Hi. So it is now Sunday and I finished Black Sun. Yay! That's upside down. Yay! I left the dust jacket at college. I forgot to bring it back with me, but I'm probably going to be lending this to my friend anyway, and she would usually take the dust jacket off to read it, so yeah, it doesn't matter too much. Anywho, summary of my thought. I will try. I think I said in one of the early parts of this that I thought it was inspired by Indigenous American mythology, and it kind of is, but it's kind of more inspired by South American Indigenous history and people and mythology, and so kind of like Inca, Aztec kind of groups of people. It's a really rich, vivid world that Rebecca Roanhorse has created in this book, and I really enjoyed it. I think the last update I gave, I did go in quite a lot into what I was enjoying about the book, and that all still stands. I ended up giving it 4 stars. There were just a couple of bits that some of the descriptions of some of the violent things that happened were just a little bit too graphic for my taste. I'm gonna give some content warnings. I probably won't remember all of them off the top of my head, but I will link to the Book Trigger Warnings website, which will have hopefully more of them. There were a couple of points where there was like eye injury described, and I'm really super squeamish about eyes. There were quite a lot of like violent moments, and some described quite graphically. There were references to suicide and murder. Some of them it wasn't clear which way it was. Yeah, references to drug use, to abuse, to sexual abuse, like loads of stuff. If you're sensitive to any of those things, like, just be wary going into it. My friend who I'm going to lend it to is also super squeamish about eyes, so I described the eye incident in detail to her so that she wouldn't be taken aback by it. That's in the first chapter, but then there is also some stuff later. I thought this was really brilliantly written. I think I said in my last update that I was worried there wouldn't be any kind of resolution at the end of this book, and there was. There was just enough pages, but there was also clearly setting up for it to be an ongoing series. I'm not sure how many books there are going to be in the series. I don't know if we know when the next one is going to be coming out or what it's called or anything like that. I'm going to be eagerly awaiting it because I need to know what happens next. Like, kind of a cliffhanger. I mean, I can't, without giving spoilers, I can't go into more detail than that. I'm really intrigued to see what happens with all the characters next, how it goes on from here. I'm a bit rambly and incoherent, I realised. I finished this last night, and yeah, I don't know if I've entirely gathered my thoughts about it yet. I need to catch up on the live show which happened last week, which I didn't manage to get to because I hadn't finished the book obviously, so I'm interested to see what the other Space Sirens thought of it. Yeah, I'm gonna catch up on that probably this evening. I feel like I usually talk more at the end of these book diaries, but I don't really know what else to say. If you like epic fantasy and you want epic fantasy inspired by South American history and mythology, then you will like this. If you're unsure about epic fantasy but you like YA fantasy, I think this is quite a good bridge book. It's really fast paced and loads of stuff happens. It's really character driven. There are a few fight scenes but not like loads of epic battle scenes. The magic system is fairly undeveloped in this book. It's just hints of what it's going to be like. There's only a couple of characters with magical abilities, so I'm interested to see how that would develop, but I think this could be a really good starting place if you want to get into more epic fantasy but you're a bit intimidated. It's also not massively long. It's about 450 pages, just over, so it's not a super duper chunky book. It's only mildly chunky. So yeah, I do really recommend this book. Check out the Book Trigger Warnings website, which should have a list of, I'm reluctant to say all of the content warnings because that is a community website, so like lots of people update it, so it's really helpful that people catch what some people miss, but a lot of the books that I've read recently I've added myself, so it will just be the ones that I've thought of. In the case of this book, there are quite a lot of things, as I've mentioned, that could be upsetting to some readers, could be triggering, so just be really aware if you're going into it, but I think it's definitely worth a read and I really enjoyed it. I don't really know what else to say about it. Our December book for the book club is, what's it called? Seven Devils by Laura Lamb and Elizabeth May. I need to start reading that soon. And then at the moment on Twitter we're voting for our January book, which the poll probably will have closed by the time I actually manage to upload this. But I will link to the Space Sirens channel and the Space Sirens Twitter in the description box, so you can go and follow us in both those places, and then you can keep up to date with what we're reading and come and watch along for our live shows. I don't think we've decided the date for the next live show anyway. It'll be sometime in the early part of January. Okay, so that's it. Let me know if you've read Black Sun and what you thought of it. Really intrigued to hear other people's thoughts about it. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already and you'd like to hear more from me, and also follow me on my social media too. That will all be listed in the description box below for you. But that's it for today, so thank you so much for watching and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!